Hey everybody, today we're here with Lori at Bochner Farms getting an update on how the garden's doing. Lori, it looks fabulous.
It does.
It looks really cool.
It does.
I turned in the drive and was like, wow, look at all that color.
Everything is blooming. It's just bursting with bloom. So this is
surely
the perfect
is.
time of year to be here.
Yeah, so what is it you need to do at this time? This is July, mid-July.
Yeah, mid-July.
Lots of blooms. What do you need to do to keep the garden looking good?
This garden is probably higher maintenance than many because I have things packed in so tight. So I spend a lot of time this time of year just cutting things back to just kind of give everybody its own space. And then as various flowers are done blooming, then I'll cut those back. So then the flowers around it that are next up will have their space to
give them
bloom
a little room.
So tons of deadheading, tons of cutting back. This time of year, depending on rain, lots of watering. And then we run through with fertilizer too.
Yeah, we had a heat spell just last week. I know it was in the 90s. It was pretty warm. How'd the garden do?
You know, most of these are heat-loving plants, so they love the heat, they love the sun, as long as they get plenty of water.
Yeah.
We have overhead irrigation that we run at like 4:30 in the morning every day, and then when it's hot, I run it a second time, just because these are raised beds, and so they do get. However, if you look at, since the canopy of the flowers are so thick, it does help retain the moisture a little bit. But we run twice a day when it's super hot.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I noticed like the yarrow and the euphorbia that you moved seem to have done really well.
Yeah, so the yarrow is pretty much done. So we cut it back. And then I also cut back this yarrow. And then, this, which is an actual type of sedum.
Oh, yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, so it was very large. And I ended up not being able to move some of them because they were so big and they would have stressed them out. Oh, yeah. So I just cut them back completely to about 2-3 inches tall. Okay. And they're just coming right back. Yeah,
you would never guess.
So they've got, I did move one of them that was over here. So now we only have one, and then I moved the other one, but I cut it way back, and it's probably going to bloom again. So believe it or not, I can cut things back so much shorter than you normally would. And I have found that it just really helps the plant. They bounce right back and get all fresh new foliage. And
now, when did you cut these back?
I did that, I would say probably mid-June.
Okay.
Maybe,
wow.
Mid-June, probably mid-June.
That was quick.
Yeah, they bounce back pretty quickly. Almost too quickly. It's sort of like, can you just stay in your spot for a little bit? But like this one, I had a zinnia in between here, but it's trying to make its way through. But I'm letting it go. And then we have Japanese beetles.
Oh, yes, they have shown up, haven't they?
So we spend some time going around with a little pan of water, not soapy water. Okay. Because I have chickens. So I just put them in regular water and just knock them into the bowl and then take them over to the chicken coop, and they just devour them.
They like them, huh?
And I think they know when I'm going around because they'll just start running circles in the run as they see me with the bowl. Like they know.
Oh, that's funny.
Snacks are coming.
They like the beetles. Well, that's a good way to get rid of them.
Yeah, it works. So we run through a couple times a day with that. But just lots and lots of cutting and deadheading. And then the daylilies, we pick off the spent blooms.
And then you cut the scapes back later.
And then I cut the scapes back, and seed weeding. Here's a piece of grass, see?
Oh, I know. They sneak in, don't they?
It's like, how did I not notice that for the entire summer until right now?
Same thing here.
So we're not doing as much weeding as we did earlier in the season because now, other than a few little rogue weeds, everything's kind of suppressing the weeds down in the soil. So.
Yeah, things are really packed in together.
Packed in tight.
So, and I could not help but notice the lovely fragrance of these lilies.
Yes.
And they're really beefy.
They are. Yeah. These were planted the very first year of the garden, so they're 3 years old. And I love it when they bloom because you just go through. We had a U-Cut private tour last night, and the wind was blowing just slightly, and they were walking through, and they're like, the scent was just floating around the garden. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that's lovely.
I'll be sad when these lilies and the daylilies are done. Yeah. We're mid-July, so we've got a couple more weeks. But by the time August rolls around, then other than our late blooming daylilies, the lilies are done for the season. Yeah. But then the dahlias will take over. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
Everything gets its day.
Yeah. And your containers are really coming along.
Yes.
Last time I think you hadn't even planted them yet.
Yes, we planted them and they are growing like crazy. I use a Proven Winners water soluble fertilizer every other week. Okay. And so they are just thriving. The only mistake I made that next year I'll do a little bit different is the mandevilla vine. These have grown so fast. The mandevilla vine, I planted was probably not a large enough plant. Next year, I think I'll size up so that the mandevilla has a little bit more of a head start.
Yeah.
Because they're in here. So I think what I might do, today will be a day, actually, I'm going to do a haircut. So they're going to get fertilized today. But this canopy down here is getting kind of leggy. So I'm going to give it all a haircut around the bottom, just to make sure that everything stays, you know, nice and fluffy and bright and colorful up on top.
So do you just cut it back like to there?
Yeah, I'll cut back probably maybe 6 inches or so. Let it just slightly be spilling over instead of spilling over this far.
I see.
And especially down underneath. So I'll just go down underneath and just, with my scissors, just cut it all back.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah.
Otherwise, towards the end of the season, they tend to get kind of
They'll get clear
leggy.
to the ground and leggy.
And they get straggly. And then
Makes
while I
sense.
do that, I think I might take some of these salvia and just cut around the mandevilla to give it its own spot. I have one that's climbing pretty well.
Yeah, that one's
And that one's sort of climbing. But these two are just like, where's the sun?
Well, one thing I noticed about these salvia that are so nice is the bracts are colorful too.
Yes.
They're really deep purple.
Yes. And I think with these, I can cut these back too and probably get another flush of flowers.
I bet you could.
I hope.
I think so.
So we'll be doing some container maintenance. It is time. For that. But they have just last year. Yeah, Ted Lair helped me with the design.
They did.
Yeah, they helped me with the design. They said I wanted containers that would just make a wow statement. And definitely.
Well, and I like how this obelisk kind of bridges the gap between the ground and the pergola.
And if I can get that mandevilla, hopefully by August, you know, like in another month, hopefully because this will be all white.
Yeah.
Which I think will just look really nice.
I think it'll be fabulous. We'll have to come back.
Yes, you'll have to come back and see in August. Yeah, and then the dahlias will be blooming too.
Yeah. So. And your verbena over here looks fabulous.
Yeah, that was an experiment that you know, sometimes I think I'm not going to do that again. And sometimes I think I am. And I think I'll do this again, but it has been a little more work than I anticipated because I wanted the verbena to be kind of a little canopy over the top of the dahlias. So I had a row of verbena in the center and then the dahlias all the way around. But the verbena has been so aggressive that I'm cutting it back. So I have to cut back this. And if you see kind of down here at this end, I've cut these back.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to make it so that the dahlias get their time to get all the sun and space they need, but yet still have my little purple fireworks over the top. It will be interesting once we get in August to see, once the dahlias that are in full bloom, you know, or how are they going to compete with each other?
Yeah, I see a lot of bees flying around.
But
They seem to
love the verbena.
And is this the species or is it one of the varieties? There's a few varieties out there.
This is Verbena bonariensis.
Yes, bonariensis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
what
cool. It is. Yeah.
It looks really good. Sometimes that gets really gangly, but this has a nice habit.
Yeah, I suppose everything has to kind of fight for its space.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I love this, and I planted. There's a little bit more over there, and there's like one I think here in the middle.
Yeah.
And I've got some in the other gardens as well. I really like this just because the bees love it, the butterflies love it, and purple's my favorite color.
Yeah.
And it's really fairly low maintenance, other than it just is aggressive. But yeah.
Do you use it for cut flowers too?
No.
Okay.
You can use it as a cut flower, but I have found, and perhaps I'm not harvesting it at the right time, but it creates purple confetti on the table.
Oh, okay.
So the flowers just shatter.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I just need to harvest earlier, but I like it in the garden. We have enough cut flowers.
Yes. Yeah,
There's plenty to choose from.
Yeah. And your zinnias, was it Lilliput that you used?
Yeah.
They look really great.
Yeah, I've got Lilliput mix zinnias, which are just these cute little button flowers, and they really don't require much deadheading at all, which I like.
Yeah.
Some of the larger varieties, like this variety here, is a variety from Florette Flower Farm.
Oh, okay.
Her special hybrid flowers that she's done. And these bigger ones, the bigger blooms tend to get spent sooner, so I do have to go in and deadhead and cut back these. But these little babies just keep going and going. I think I probably only have to deadhead maybe twice a season.
Nice. Yeah, I see you have a dahlia tucked in there too.
Dahlia's tucked in there, yeah.
Nice. And which Rudbeckia are you growing?
So this is a Rudbeckia. I got the seed from Seed Savers. Seed Corner.
Okay.
Got this little seed company, and this is called Gloriosa Daisy.
Oh, yeah.
And I started them from seed. And I mean, there's a little one there. They're scattered throughout the garden. I just love it because it makes such a big, bold statement.
Yeah.
And they got the little variety in the flowers. So yeah.
Some
really
foliage,
nice.
some flowers. It's great.
Yeah.
And the butterfly weed, wow.
Yeah.
That's going to town.
It's going to town. I will be glad when it's done blooming. It's been blooming for a long time.
Has it really?
And I leave it for the butterflies.
Of course.
But it's, I've got a zinnia in here, some celosia. It needs to go away so that these things around it, but I'm not, until the flowers are completely done, I'm not going to cut it back.
Have you noticed any caterpillars?
I have not noticed a lot of caterpillars.
Well, they can be kind of hiding
but
too,
they could be.
sure.
I don't spend a lot of time inspecting.
Yeah.
I just make sure that that's a celosia. I just make sure that everything kind of has its space. So hopefully they're having their little condominium that they're living in down there. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I think when you guys were here last, I was planting the zinnias and the sage salvia. And so that's kind of been this corner. This is a little yarrow that got cut back.
Oh, okay.
And because it was kind of crowding over all of these. And so I guess I still have a couple stems of the yarrow.
A little bit going there, yeah.
But that yarrow's done, and so then now these annuals.
Oh yeah, those were just tiny when we were here last.
They were little babies. I planted them. Yeah.
They have done well.
Yeah.
They have done well.
Yeah, and I love the mix of the marigolds and the salvia and then the zinnias.
Yeah. Did it turn out like you were wanting it to?
Most things have, yeah.
That's
I think so.
Good.
I think so.
That's good. And did you get your the daylilies moved that you wanted?
So I did not.
Okay.
I did not. We moved some, so we're creating a daylily room.
Oh, nice.
Over on that side of the drive, and so yeah, we got 80 of them moved.
Wow.
But
that's a lot of daylilies.
Over 100 varieties in the daylily room so far.
Wow.
And we're going to be expanding the bed of 80 and adding probably another 20 to 40. Wow. And then another garden as well in there. So that'll be a really cool space for daylily people to visit. Yeah.
Yes, you have some fabulous ones. I saw them over by the house. And pretty neat.
Yeah, my husband's been collecting daylilies for the last, 10, 15 years. And so we have over 500 varieties.
Oh,
I think
wow.
yesterday he was telling someone we have over 550 varieties of daylilies. So, but the field out back, we just scratched the surface. We ran out of time.
Yeah.
But we are working on creating a whole new area, and we'll get on it this fall.
Yeah.
So hopefully September we'll have some time.
Nice. So what else have you been doing in the garden? Just mostly the deadheading and cutting back?
Yeah, mostly the deadheading. The hyacinth bean tends to go a little crazy. And so, again, cutting this back. Some of them I'll try to train up over the top.
Yeah.
Because I do like it. I have hyacinth bean on both sides. And so it climbs up to the center. So I do try to kind of keep it up to the top. So some of these I'll send up, and then some of them I'll just cut back.
Sure.
But otherwise, they'll just vine everywhere.
Yes. Now, I noticed the dahlias here are blooming, so.
Yes, we have some that are blooming.
That seems kind of early. Is that kind of early?
I think it depends on the variety. Some sort of like daylilies, some are earlier bloomers than others. But yeah, this one is brown sugar. I need to go in and do some harvesting because it needs to be cut back. But yeah, brown sugar.
Cool.
And there's a couple other daylilies, or dahlias, I think, over there.
Oh, that were coming in.
I think Wine-Eyed Jill is somewhere over there. I saw her. But yeah.
Super. And you have some glads.
I don't know how to grow gladiolas, or at least how to support them. So, so we've had a terrible time with them flopping over.
Sure.
They're just so stunning. I love them.
Yeah.
But they're just, and I'm trying to support them, but it's not a beefy enough support system.
It's hard. I know. And these have grown so tall.
I know. I think because they get so much fertilizer, because they get fertilized with everything else, and they get watered so regularly, and they have full sun. So, I mean, they're living their best life here. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think I might see if I can get my husband to construct, like, getting a piece of cattle panel. Oh, yes. And then bending it, and then, like, putting, like, creating a little rectangle, and then just putting that in, and then putting the bulbs, and then it can grow. I think maybe the cattle panel and the wood might be a strong enough structure. And really, this is the only spot, so I could just create a little rectangle. Yeah. I don't know.
That would be a good.
It'll look really ugly at the beginning of the season before everything grows up through it, but this doesn't look that pretty, so I think it'll be, I don't know.
It's a challenge. Yeah, so do you dig them, or do you just buy new every year?
I just buy new, just because we only have, I think I buy one pack with like 20 or something.
Yeah. Nice.
But they're good.
That's fun.
And this salvia, I grow the red and then the blue. Yeah. Both from seed.
Great.
Yeah. Everything's looking good.
It is looking fabulous. It's looking fabulous. So what about pests or deer, rabbits, things like that? I see you have a fence, but it's not like super duper high.
Yeah, we do have a 6-foot fence, which so far has kept the deer away. I think between that and the dogs,
Yeah.
and we try to plant things near the fence so they haven't jumped. But bunnies this year has been so bad for bunnies. I don't know if others have had the same. We have had more bunnies here than I can even say. And they are messing with my coleus.
Oh, really?
They were munching on the little baby seedlings originally, but I used a liquid fence, and so that kept them away. But nothing is keeping them away from the coleus. And I love coleus in the garden. I have coleus all throughout here.
Yeah.
And some of them, they completely left alone.
Yeah.
And then some of them, like this one. So I want it to match on each side of the arbor. And this one is like, got a few pieces left, but they just shred it.
That's crazy.
They just shred it. And so I don't know why some coleus, like this coleus, they don't care. They don't care about that coleus. But for some reason, just a few of them, and then it's the same spot. Because originally when they did that, I replanted it and they came in and shredded the next one. So I just gave up. We've propagated some. We just took the stems and then we put some in water and some in soil. So I've got new ones inside. They probably don't want to come out here.
Yeah, they're like, no,
like,
don't put us
somewhere
there.
else. But yeah, I don't know why they have just been really messing with my coleus. That's probably been the worst thing for pests this year.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Frustrating,
you know, it's a little bit of the Japanese beetles, but we just put those and feed them to the chickens. And so they've been definitely controllable.
Yeah.
But the bunnies, there's nothing. I've sprayed that with liquid fence. They still just shred it.
Yeah, go figure.
So
rabbits are very frustrating.
Rabbits are frustrating.
But fortunately, they've left most of the garden alone.
Yes, and there's enough here that I think, you know, when we cut things back, I use these big bins. We'll fill up the entire back of the gator overflowing with plant material.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And
you'll look around and not even realize anything got cut out of here. It is amazing. Like, it's sort of like the kitchen counter or your kitchen cupboards when you're packing. It's like it's all tidy in 5 cupboards. How did I end up with 25 boxes? It's the same kind of thing here. It's like, where did all this stuff
come from?
Yeah. But yeah, so we cut. So there's enough for the bunnies, I suppose, to get what they need without ruining everything. But
That's good.
Other than that, though, I think everything is going.
It's looking fabulous.
Pretty well.
It's looking really great. So, but thank you so much for letting us come by.
Yes.
We appreciate it. It is beautiful as always.
Thank you. It's been fun having you guys along to see when we had the little baby plants that we were planting. I remember even the seeds when we were sowing seeds. We were sowing Gomphrena seeds.
Oh yeah, there
you were here.
Yeah.
This is just one of them, the white variety, but those are all
Fabulous.
growing like crazy. So it's fun for you to see the very beginning.
Very fun.
To what it looks like now.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again, Lori.
Yes, thank you.
We'll be seeing you.
Thanks.